Hey, good morning, everybody. Just stopping in my local McDonald's restaurant. About ready to go inside and grab a cup of coffee, but I wanted to talk to you first about a book I recently completed reading, and that is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Now, I think Robert Jordan is an extremely talented writer. God rest his soul. He passed on a couple of years ago, from what I understand. But he left behind us the Wheel of Time series. And so far, it's really good. I have the book right here. It's a long fiction account. It's set in a fantasy world. You know, it's an action thriller, I would consider it. You know, there's magic and creatures like that in the book. You know, those typical motifs that you're going to find in the fantasy genre as a whole are going to be found in this book as well. However, I think Robert Jordan puts his own unique style. He puts his own unique spin on that particular type of story, okay? It's not going to be just about good versus evil. However, that is the strongest theme, the strongest storyline in his book. But there are many other things that he's going to discuss and consider as well and explore for topics. I like the idea, or I liked the fact how we're introduced to this world through the eyes of Rand al'Thor and his two friends, Mat and Perrin. And they are growing up in this very tiny farm community that's literally cut off from the rest of the world, and the only way they get news is by way of local peddlers, or peddlers that come in and sell goods to their little town. And they really don't know anything about what's going on in their world. They don't have a clue, you know, plus they're young, they're naive, they haven't really explored life, they haven't learned a lot about themselves, and we as a reader come to it in the same fashion. You know, we don't know anything about this world that Robert Jordan's gonna make for us or reveal to us. We don't know anything about the rules of this world or the society in which these people live in, and you know, we're just as dumb as Rand al'Thor and his friends. You know, and I like that. I like the fact that we have perspective, the same perspective as our young main characters here in this book. You know, we're not quickly trying to catch up to the information that Rand and his friends know, because they don't know anything and we don't know anything. I think I don't know if I should use this word, but I'm going to. I think it's genius in the respect that we can quickly connect with these characters because we're at the same level they are, which is complete ignorance. But, you know, that's a good thing to a certain extent, because as these characters are exploring their world and their eyes are opening to the wonders of it, you know, so are we. You know, we're just as enthralled by Shadar Logoth, you know, that city, that old ruined city, as they are. You know, we're wondering what those buildings are just as much as they are. At least I was. I don't know if you were when you read the book, but I liked that little bit of perspective and thought that Robert Jordan put into his book, you know, to get the whole series going. You know, and those little details are the ones that I like, you know, to be brought out. All right, so as I said, these three boys, they grow up in this small little bitty community, and lo and behold, somebody from the outside comes in and they're searching for three young men. All right, it's Moiraine Aes Sedai. You know, she is going to be acting like the protector of these young boys initially as the series gets going on. And I liked her character for the most part. I thought, you know, she had good qualities. I felt that she had enough depth. Ooh, cop car coming or something, or an ambulance. Hope somebody's okay. All right. Anyway, so where was I? So Robert Jordan, I think he's talented in the fact that he can build characters to sufficient depth and to sufficient believability to make this series work. I like the dynamics between the young men and the young women. I think that's supposed to be, or meant to be, playful. I think it's meant to be as any young man would, or any young woman meant to be. They're learning about themselves. They're learning about how to build relationships. They're learning about, what it means to be, good, close friends, even when times get tough, So that was enjoyable to look at. But I also like the interactions between the young people and the older, more seasoned characters like Lan. He calls the boys sheep herders, and makes fun of them to tongue-in-cheek to a little bit. And Moiraine, how she's kind of like the motherly figure. Which I want to get to this point. I hope you've seen it, and you probably have. Is the fact that when you look at literature, classical literature as a whole, women typically are protectors of society. They are given the keys to be protectors of the communities for the most part. And it's the men that run around and, they conquer cities, they want to be the great businessmen, and they do it at all costs. Sometimes, they are destructive in their path. And I think Robert Jordan's going to play in that theme a little bit, because like the Aes Sedai, the women, the female Aes Sedai, they, for the most part, they keep society running as a whole. And even in this small town, it's the women's circle that gets things done, while the men's council, they just talk about doing things. I found that pretty funny, But Robert Jordan's bringing out some classical elements that you're going to see throughout literature into his book, too. But he also, I think, is going to play on that, because the three main characters, it seems like, are going to be Rand, Mat, and Perrin. And if that's the case, they're going to have some sort of compassion. They're going to have some sort of identity to protect those around them, if they are going to be the leaders in fighting against the evil. So, as I said, Robert Jordan will be playing on that. It seems like a little bit too, and I really liked I really liked that too. But also don't miss the fact, and I hope it connected with you too, is how good he is at the action scenes. Because when it came to resolving the conflict, or when it came to the fight scenes, I was reading very fast, and I think that's a good sign of a writer. If they can build and hold suspense to the point where the action needs to resolve itself, and then you're anticipating it and you're reading it very quickly. In fact, I had to read a couple of the action scenes multiple times just to make sure I was understanding it all correctly and making sure that I was getting all the factual points squared away in my head. But I was also enjoying it, just his unique style of describing, the swing of the sword, or how the axe falls, with Perrin's hands, how he standing up in the stirrups, grimly moving forward on his horse. I mean, that was some pretty cool stuff. I hope you liked it too. So it was a fun book. I think you could read the book and not think too deeply about it and have a great time with it. But he is definitely a deep writer. I mean, he's bringing in some elements into this book that you could talk about for hours. Fate versus personal choice. Fate being represented by the pattern that's woven, that men's lives are woven by and women's lives are woven by, is the pattern. This whole idea of the pattern and the wheel of time out secular, how we're kind of supposed to repeat fate and repeat history and repeat things that have gone on in the past. But yet there's these prophecies that kind of shake that up a little bit, how there's supposed to be someone who's going to be a little bit different, kind of like a Messiah figure. This person is going to save the world, but yet there's this whole idea of the pattern, how you're supposed to follow your footsteps, how you're supposed to kind of just accept what's going to happen, accept your fate, accept your place in the world, and kind of go with it. Boy, the ambulance, there's another one. I really do hope someone's okay. But where was I? Oh yeah, so there are some pretty deep topics that Robert Jordan explores in his book. The dynamics between men and women, the power between men and women, or the power between kings and people that are not royalty, but yet they have important roles to play. Like Rand, he's definitely not royalty, but he's able to wield the one power. Perrin, what is he going to do? So good book. I liked the style. I liked Robert Jordan's spin on things, and I hope you do too. I hope you like what I would consider a fresh look at the fantasy genre, and how it and how it really sets up this dynamic world and how things can move quickly. And there's slow spots. All books have slow spots, but I think those slow spots are intentional. You know, as I said, I think Robert planned everything out in detail. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this book. I read it twice, and there's a lot of little cues, like through Min, you know, her character, how she reveals to us a lot of things that are gonna happen, I think. The dream sequences, you know, those are incredibly important, you know, very realistic. I think that Robert Jordan is gonna develop the whole dream aspect a little bit further, and how there's this connected but alternate reality that's going on here. I know I'm saying a lot, but my thoughts are flowing really fast. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say. But anyway, good book. I recommend it. I hope you read it. If you haven't, please do so. And God bless.